You can call it wild, you can call it crazy, you can call it downright outrageous, but you can't call it boring. It's dynamic, dazzling, and certainly sizzling Supercross racing that can be found only on Moto Video. It's your front row seat to the hottest motorsports events in the nation, and it's all on home video cassette. So sit back, put on your gloves, strap on your helmet, pop it into gear, and prepare yourself for Supercross racing action from Moto Video. It's been nearly 10 years since the Europeans were last here in America, but tonight, in Los Angeles, the World Supercross Finals, the Nippondenso Supercross Special, will present over 60 of America's and Europe's top motocross stars on a track that has been described as the roughest ever by both the Americans and Europeans. You'll see all the top American stars, Bailey, Ward, Lachine, and Hawley, and the top Europeans, Jan Van Dorn, Strebos, and Jobé. They'll all be here tonight.
Welcome to Los Angeles Coliseum for tonight's telecast of the World Supercross Finals. I'll be covering the interviews and the down on the track action with the riders. And upstairs will be Rod Eschenberg, my colleague. He'll be covering the action as he sees it.
Thanks very much, Brock. This is Greg Barbacovi along with Rod Eschenberg. And first tonight, we're going to take a look at this incredible Supercross track. It starts off, of course, with a fairly short starting line. A backward starting gate that falls back towards the riders, which prevents them from getting a jump. Should the rider begin to take off too early, his front tire becomes embedded in that upside-down U-shaped figure and keeps him from going anyplace. After that short start, they funnel down into a very narrow first corner. Take a look again at how important it is to get a good start here, because very quickly you can get blocked out, and that proves to be a disadvantage on a short Supercross track. Next up, you'll see the series of jumps that will send the riders flying higher into the air than on any other section of the track. Of course, that section is immediately followed by a short series of jumps that go through a corner at the same time. A lot of guys are going to go down here, especially at the beginning of the race, because they're so bunched up together. And speaking of bunched up, look at how close these stutter jumps are. These riders are going to expect a lot of trouble here just because of how tough they are to go over at a time. You can expect to see a lot of passing in this section as different riders of different abilities go through their side-by-side. Next up, it's a tabletop finish line. Just that, a table-like surface on top with two perpendicular sides. 4 jumps in a row, probably the most spectacular of all of the spectator obstacles, and then the riders go towards what is unique in Supercross, an actual uphill and downhill where riders go riding up through the seats of the Coliseum, out of crowd's view, and then back down a 90-foot section of the track which is laid right over spectator seats. Finally, one last series of short jumps, a large canyon in between, which most riders will take 2 at a time. Too short for much passing, but you'll see some stylish cross-ups and bike handling there. And now, we're ready for the first race.
It's the 250 card sideways right now.
He is down. We're looking for a go.
Looks like Rick Johnson on that privateer Yamaha is right in there.
On the outside, they're side by side, three abreast. He's running in second spot. Third now as he goes through those rockers.
Yeah, first place is George Jobé, the world champion twice in the 250 class, and now he's back on his familiar size after a year off in the 500s. He's back to 250s. Oh, we got Eric Keel on the Suzuki challenging through the ropes.
Okay. Now looking at Kehoe coming back into second place and coming out, and they should get that green for go now. They do. So number 11 running in the lead. George Obey running in the lead, the second spot rider. The number 6 running in second. Ricky Johnson running in the second spot now. The number 5 rather.
I'll tell you, Rod, this seems to be a surprise to a lot of people. The Europeans aren't usually noted for their quick starts.
Definitely, Jobé is looking a lot better than the last time we saw him at a stadium.
Oh, and there goes Rick Johnson inside, and Rick Johnson puts a classic pass.
Oh, Johnson set him up and did it to him. Looking at him now as they come back through that backstretch area, out of the gate area. Flying high, Johnson now. We're
here with George Jobé, two-time 250cc world champion here in the Kawasaki pits. George, you come over from Belgium, racing here in America on the Supercross. You've done it once or twice other that I've recalled, but this one is a very big race here in the LA Coliseum. What are your chances tonight, and how do you like the track?
I like the track, and tonight I try to go as fast as possible and try to be first qualified. It will be very important for me. And then if I'm qualified, I will do 110% because I want to be good tonight.
Well, that's an approach that we haven't heard much. Most of the riders are talking about possibly hanging back in their heat race and trying to get in that first row of the start. And you're wanting to go as fast as you can right from the heat and then transfer directly into the main event. Is this going to create a problem if you end up in the second starting wave?
I don't know. It's a hard question because first I have to see how I will go. I don't know really. I know that I can be good, but I don't know how much.
Good interview, Brock. Some good information there. It's the last lap of the race, and look at that. Ricky Johnson taking his hand off the bars. He does it again, waving to the crowd that he's number 1. People here at the Coliseum, almost 50,000 of them were shocked to see a European streak out to the lead. But now, Ricky Johnson, Mr. Rad and Bad himself, taking hands off the bars, his feet off the pegs. This is not what you would call a conservative racer. Just take a look at the shorts that he's got on there. The red pants that you see around his knees, those are protective leather pants. But the flowered business above there, that's a pair of baggy shorts like you might wear out to go surfing. And again, on double jumps, Ricky Johnson waving to the crowd. He's real happy to be where he is right now because the machine that he's riding has not been tuned by the Yamaha factory. That is a machine that was brought to him by a private citizen, somebody who wanted to see Ricky do well out here. He's between contracts. He was signed with the Yamaha factory, but for next season will be going over to Honda, and so finds himself in a lull between the two business agreements. Looking at the crowd, he ought to be stylish here. Look at that, 1 foot off the peg as Ricky Johnson takes the first heat win, and that should be Jobé coming across the line in second place.
RJ, Ricky Johnson, they call you Flash. You are just a madman out there. The crowd loves you.
Yeah, I'm just having a good time. I broke away from George really early on in the race. He didn't seem to be a problem. I was just sort of feeling the bike. I was a little bit nervous. I had a flat before the race. I was a little bit keyed up. So I think that's where my start suffered, and he cut me off a couple times. But as soon as I got out in the open, I was a little bit bored. I thought I'd put on a show for the people.
Easy track?
Easy track, yeah. I wasn't having no problems with any of the jumps. A couple riders did, but it's doesn't seem to hinder me any, so I'm doing good.
All right, great show.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
Back to you guys.
250 in the car sideways right now. Oh, it looks like Scott Burnworth, the newly signed Yamaha rider from El Cajon, California, had to start along with Johnny O'Mara, number 5 on the Honda. Excuse me, Johnny's running number 3.
Running up the front end, looking like Burnworth in the second spot,
and another young rider, Terry Fowler from El Cajon. They're neighbors with Scott Burnworth is riding, and also neighbors with me are running in second, third. Now yes. Fowler fell back to 4th. And you see O'Mara, the classic season veteran. He's been the champion, a Supercross champion, taking the lead early here, pulling a little bit of distance on Burnworth. Does a little one-hander to show for the crowd.
Exactly. O'Mara, he was Supercross champion, not last year, but the year before. And Brock, I was talking with him before the race, and Johnny really sees the Rodil Cup here as a stepping stone to get back into the form that won him the Supercross title a couple years back. You can see him really attacking the course here early on to establish himself as a front runner. There he is taking a look back over at his shoulder to see where the runner-up is. Now that's Scott Burnworth. Brock, a new teammate of yours this year. Burnworth, you can see in the orange and black, used to be on a Suzuki. You were talking with him before the race.
We're here with Team Yamaha's rider, Scott Burnworth, in the pits. And Scott, after a 3-year absence with Yamaha, you're back with them. Tell me, is that going to pose a problem tonight, do you think, or are you used to the bikes?
No, not at all. I feel really good on the bikes tonight, and you know, I've had about 2 weeks on them, and I feel really confident, you know, over the jumps and everything, and I just feel really excited about riding Yamahas again.
Be a tight race here. Be real curious. Gabor's coming up on the inside, into that, slamming into that finish line jump. I mean, the G-forces are tremendous there. That jump's nearly straight up and down for these guys to accelerate. Oh, and Burnworth, our first rider, we're seeing finally somebody lacking and hanging back. Very interesting to see Burnworth just riding back there. He's riding back in the first place, and he knows what he's doing, and we're gonna see if that's gonna pay off.
Yeah.
I can't blame him a bit, Rod. The main event is all the marbles here, and I'll tell you, every person here. Look, Johnny O'Mara's pulling off. You've got it. Johnny O'Mara doing the same thing right there. Pulls off. Eric Gabors is riding at a quarter throttle pace right ahead of him, and he doesn't know what to do, and they don't know what to do. It's great to see this. Gabors is...
He's trying to wait for 12, AJ.
Gabors is sitting there trying to wait for, he doesn't know because he knows a second will put him in the wrong gate. He's trying to sit back and wait for O'Mara to pass him, and O'Mara won't. And here comes Burnworth with another rider, not sure, a lapped rider, not sure what's going on with Burnworth. All these top
Here's the
riders.
checker flag, and I think the finisher, let's see what
Let's see the winner. No,
they gave it to the wrong one.
Winner was A.J. Whiting.
A.J. Whiting, the number 12, won it, and they gave him the white flag.
Yep, A.J. Whiting has won the race. Gabors comes in second. Johnny O'Mara, third place, and now we see Scott Burnworth.
We're listening to the announcer right now, Johnny L. I think you came in third. Did you?
Yeah, I know I did get third. I had it, you know, I knew that I was in the lead, and the way the race goes tonight, the final is going to be, you know, a staggered start. And if you get first and second, you're going to be in the second row start, and I wanted to get third, so I'm in the first row start.
A little sandbagging.
Yeah, but, you know, the way they're putting all these rules in for us, and, you know, I want to win the race, so there's no way you can win the race in the second row, so I'm going to try. That's why I got third.
The name of the game is winning the race, and Johnny O, you're on your way?
I hope so. I hope to put Honda on the board again.
All right, best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, we'll see how that kind of attitude affects the winners, or at least the leaders, of this race. This is the third heat race. Again, the top 2 winners from this event have to start in that delayed start in the main event later on tonight. Jimmy Hawley, number 24, gets off to a bad start. Yamaha in the middle of the pack. He's the guy who is the points leader here in the World Supercross Finals, and that's the guy. Whoa! 3 riders going down right in front of Jimmy Hawley. You can see him over on the right-hand side of your screen, number 24 in the white Yamaha, trying to get back in the race. Here now we're cutting to Hawley on the other side of the track. He's got to ride like a crazy man in order to get back in the field. And as you can see, that motorcycle bucking around just like a bronco in a rodeo. He is having an incredibly tough time trying to get back into the field. Now here's your leader, Ron Lachine, number 6. He runs for the Kawasaki factory. He just signed with Team Green, Kawasaki, a few months ago. This is his first American appearance on a Team Green machine, and he's way out in front. Now you can't help but wonder if he's going to start thinking the same way that Johnny O'Mara did during the last race. At the end of the event, is he going to slow down? Perhaps so. There he is, looking back over his shoulder, trying to find out where the runners-up may be.
Waves to the crowd. Oh, he pretends like he stalls his bike or stalls it on purpose. John Vanderberg looks at him.
Vanderberg says, I'm going to stop too.
This is incredible.
Here comes the Phil Larson, 62.
Yeah, Phil Larson's in third.
And Ron keeps looking for Larson, and Larson's no way.
Vanderberg stops too. Come on, he's going to take that old bike.
Oh, I know what's going to happen now. They're all going to stop.
Vanderbroek, look at this. This is Academy Award of the night. He's acting like he hurt himself. Ron stops.
Phil Larson's going to win it. He says the heck
there
with
it is. And Ron Lachine puts himself exactly where he wants to be. Third place. Vanderbroek.
RJ, Ricky Johnson, Flash, man, you just saw a couple of races. They weren't races. You raced, they didn't.
Yeah, I think that's really chicken of O'Mara and of Lachine. I really thought they were more professional than that. I didn't think that, you know, when I said I was going to come out here, race to win, I'm here to race to win. If you're capable of winning a qualifier, then you should be on the back row. They want to test this rule to see if it's fair. And now, here I am the only one, and I'm riding a privateer bike tonight. So who's a man and who's chicken is the way I look at it.
Did it ever cross your mind to sandbag?
It crossed my mind, but I really thought it wasn't fair to the people, and it isn't fair to the system. They want to try the system out, see how the second row start works in case if they want to use it for a next year format. And now all these guys are just sandbagging. If I was the crowd, I'd get up and walk home.
Okay, now, say the rules don't change, you're on the back row. Could you possibly come from behind with 50,000 people yelling for you?
Put it this way, the guys who sandbag, they better hope I don't get a hold of them.
All right, best of luck, RJ.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dave Stanfield, efficient as ever, a roving reporter down in the field. Back now to action on the starting line. This is the fourth and final heat race. We've got David Bailey and Jeff Ward, among others, on the starting line. You really got to consider Ward the favorite, although Bailey, he's due for a good one. Not here, though. Bailey really does not get a good start, while Ward streaks to the front of the pack over the 3 jumps. Now you got to begin to wonder, was Bailey's poor start due to a lack of timing on the gate? Or could Bailey maybe be thinking about the acting that he needs to do in order to achieve that first gate start? Remember, it's a 3rd or 4th place finish in this race that will be important to him. That second place rider you saw go down, 54, Russ Wageman, caused a little bit of traffic. That gave Jeff Ward a very large lead. And if Ward is thinking the same way that the other riders were earlier on, he's in a lot of trouble. There's a big space between 1st and 2nd place. Jeff Ward, number 2 on the Kawasaki, recently crowned 250cc national champion. That's an outdoor motocross circuit. Here, of course, Supercross indoors. It's a whole different story right there. He did take the title by 2 points over you, Brock. There's a good picture of David Bailey. Now, David, a bad start, slowly beginning to work his way up through the pack now. He was in 10th place off the starting line, but if he can pass Wageman, and on the inside, he also passes number 14, one of the Japanese riders, Yasuto Fujiki. That'll put him up into, I believe, 4th place. No, that'll make it 3rd. And that's exactly where David Bailey wants to be at this point in the race. A 3rd place finish would allow him to start the main event later on tonight in that all-important front row. Let's move on now. The white flag is out. This is the last lap of the race. And let's see what Jeff Ward is going to do. The Kawasaki rider who took the 250 outdoor title and the indoor Supercross title this year has got a big gap between him and 2nd place. We're waiting for him to come out. Ward has not come out from around the peristyle. We don't have a picture of him, but there on the screen, you can see the area where Ward has come apparently to a complete stop. The question is he waiting for another rider, or did he fall down or break his bike? Here's number 21, your brand new leader, Ricky Ryan, also on a Kawasaki. Ricky comes from San Jose, a real hot up-and-comer on that Kawasaki team. A privateer, which means he does not get direct factory support. However, the factory does help him out with some of his expenses. And there's Jeff Ward looking strong as ever. So even though we didn't see a picture of it, you gotta believe that Jeff Ward was pulling a little stunt out there out of the range of spectators. So you gotta give him credit for that. Ward's still in a little bit of trouble. He's in 2nd place. He's looking over his shoulder because he wants that guy in the red jersey to pass him. That's that Yamaha rider, Russ Wageman. They're moving closer to the finish line. There we have the checkered. Ryan will take the win, so he'll have to start the main event in that 2nd wave. So will Bailey. Bailey came up into 2nd when Ward stopped behind the peristyle. Ward will finish 3rd, and that's exactly where he wanted to be. Dave Stanfield, let's go down to you and find out what our winner has to say.
Okay, it's like roller derby. It's kind of a theatrical scene going on up here. Where were you? What position were you lap number 2 laps to go?
I was in 2nd most of the whole race. I got about an 8th place start and worked up to 2nd in about 3 laps. And
did you think, were you given the win here?
yeah, I was given the win. Yeah, I was.
Who gave it to you, and do you think it's fair?
I don't think it's right. I think everybody should race to win. I don't think they should slow down at all and let someone else win.
Okay, now, if you had your choice of winning fair and square, would you have?
No, I would not.
You would have held back?
I wasn't going as fast as Jeff.
No, what I'm saying is the question is, if you were in the lead, would you have stayed there or would you have done what Ward did?
I would have won. I would have just kept trying to pull away.
So you're not worried about starting the first pack or the second pack in that main event?
No, I'm not. I'm worried about winning races.
All right.
Thanks.
Ricky, Ryan. Now, Rick, you're self-sponsored?
Yeah, my dad helped me out this year to get everything.
Why don't you just show everybody and go out and win?
Okay, thanks.
All right, Rick.
Tell him to tape this. And you probably came here to watch people race. But the way it looks now is you got a bunch of people who are afraid to start in the second row, so they stop so they can get a front row start. If this is a race, then let's race. If we're gonna have a motorcycle show, then all you people can go home and we can putt around a track. But I'm sorry for the way the people that I race with act, but I thought they were more professional than that.
You've heard the bottom line. If you're a racer, you want to win, and you win any way you can, but you win within the rules. Jeff, you're within the rules. What's been going on here?
Well, as advertised, there's Europeans start front row, Americans start back row. That's how we came here. Then we get here and find out there's a qualifying to make the front row and back row, and it's just not fair, if some guys go out there and sandbag, which I wasn't the first one to do it, and I'm not going to start in the back row and have another manufacturer win the race because of it. They'll get all the glory. So of course I have to do the same thing, and that's the way it went with a couple of riders. So then they changed the rule, make a one-man starting gate, which gives me a bad position on the line anyway. So, fair's fair. I'll start from the back row and see what I can do. I just don't want to get hurt out there, but I'll give them a run for the money. But it's going to be hard to catch, David and Johnny, because they were, they're going fast, but I'll give it a try.
All right, best of luck.
Thanks.
Okay, we got our first East versus West 125 program going now, I believe, Brock.
Yeah, it is. It's a tight race already coming out in the head. Looks like it's number 2, I think, Rodney Barr, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Rodney Barr from Shelbyville, North Carolina, running up front as we look at him in that second 180. And again, we're going racing this time.
Yeah,
There's no pulling the stops on these. There's 3 motos tonight for these guys, and it's strictly like the good old days now as we look at the numbers too.
And we got Mike Jones in second place on a Kawasaki, and this is the racing, all out, nothing risked there. Everyone's going for the win here. There's no doubt about that.
So we definitely have the East running up front right now.
This is yes, it's definitely the Eastville. This is their kind of track. It's a hard ground similar to the Southern California. I'll tell you, Rod, I'm surprised to see this too, but Roddy Barr is definitely a competitive rider, a good rider, riding some pro amateur events and soon to be a top professional rider, I'm sure.
And looking like we have a red plate, a red number in the third spot, or my eyes going bad on me.
I think your eyes are going bad.
Yeah, okay, it is black.
It goes with age, I'll tell you. But
it is Mike Healy, number 2.
Yeah,
Mike Healy, number 2, the first in third place, the lead Western rider, Western Division rider. As we look at the 2 Easterners going up front, again, there's no sandbagging, no slowing on this one.
Oh, really? The 4th place rider just tried to come in on Mike Kronzer on the Honda. He just tried to come in on Healy, and they bumped a little bit, but I'll tell you, they're back out there racing, and they didn't even lose a position. We still see Rodney Barr pulling out ahead. Rodney's a tough rider. And talking to David Bailey, he lives in the same area as Rodney Barr back in Virginia, that area. And he
Excuse
says,
me just a minute, Brock. I got to interrupt you right here because speaking of David Bailey, we've got David down in the field right now with our own David Stanfield to talk about that last 250 heat race. So Dave, take it away down there.
Okay, why'd you come in second? Was it you or Rick Johnson gave a pretty emotional speech?
Yeah, well, the whole thing started out, I was in the 4th heat, and I was going to wait and see what everybody did because it's foolish with O'Mara doing that in the 1st heat for somebody after that to try to win the race with O'Mara in the front row. And I thought Johnson was pretty cool about it. And as soon as he saw that guys were doing it, he came down and said, everybody feels the same way. It sucks. It's horrible to turn out that way. It's a joke. But when everybody was booing the riders that were doing it, and I think those guys that don't have quite as much respect, the spectators forum, I thought, I'm going out to win this heat race. And on the second lap, I came down the peristyle when my rear disc brake failed. I had no brake. He thinks I'm riding around slow. I was doing the best I could to stop for the corners, and I went ahead. I saw Ward sitting there just waiting for me. I went ahead and did it. I'm going to try to win this sucker from the back row.
Mike Healy's a couple seconds back he's on the Suzuki. He's also number 2, but a black one designating the Western region. Following him, Eddie Warren, who's won numerous national amateur championships and now is turning professional or pro-am, I guess this is be considered. And Eddie's in 3rd. And back in 4th, 5th, and 6th, we have a tremendous battle right now between Billy Frank, Ray Somo, and Bobby Moore going for that position.
And remember, Brock, since this race is running 3 motos, we don't have any of that double gate sandbagging that we've seen in the 250 class. So there's the checkered flag. Number 2 goes ahead and takes the first moto win. Rodney Barr with Mike Healy on a Suzuki in 2nd place.
Eddie Warren, and here comes the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. What a close one right now between Ray Somo, Billy Frank, and Bobby Moore. And it looks like Ray Somo on the new Yamaha ride, followed by Billy Frank on another YZ 125.
Brock will jump straight to the start of the 2nd East-West 125 moto.
Oh, Bader's a gutsy rider, and sometimes I've seen it pay off for him, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But we're going to be seeing some fabulous racing here. He's showing Eddie Warren everything he's got.
I lost him in the first moto. He must have had trouble right off the start.
Yeah, he did. He was probably back 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in there. He was farther back. Going into these whoop-de-doos, Eddie Warren looks real well, and Bader's coming on strong. It looks like Bader's driving a little deeper into the corners, and like I said, that's an advantage of being in 2nd place, Rod.
Yep.
He can come in a little harder and watch that. Look at this. Billy Frank coming up on the other Yamaha.
Billy, yes.
Oh, he's coming up on the other. Look at Bader. He sneaks by. What a move in the whoop-de-doos. He holds it on. Bader's famous for being a gutsy rider, and I'll tell you.
You bet.
He's coming on real strong right there. He's a jumper. I practice with this guy sometimes, and I'll tell you, this kid can jump like nobody else. I mean, he and Ricky Johnson and myself have been out, and he just amazes Ricky.
Here comes Zoe right back.
Now he's running 2nd place. He's watching Bader, and he's using Bader as his braking accelerating point, so he's got an advantage. And right here, he's sneaking on the inside. Yes, and what? Oh, they both go down. Look at this. They both go down and pass it on to Billy Frank. I told you those guys were going to get into a... Oh, I knew they'd get into a gutsy race.
You know, Brock, this is a real good opportunity to take a second look at this section of the track and set this up. Now, Bader, number 1, knowing this is a wide corner, dives for the inside. Problem is, his momentum carries him to the outside of the berm. Eddie Warren has no place else to go. Eddie goes down, and Bader ends up taking himself out as well.
Oh, this is too bad for Billy Frank. Hopefully he'll slide by and not have to have the race dictated.
Now he's being blocked by the
there he goes. He
number.
finally gets by. Yep, and sure enough, Rodney Barr lost a little time because of Laffer. Now look, Rodney Barr being let by his Kawasaki teammate. There's a little team tact, as I'd call it right there. One guy holding back the Yamaha rider. And that also, he was an Eastern rider, if you notice. So he was not only the same brand, but he was also an Eastern rider holding back the Western rider. And that's, we can't call it for team tactics, but I guess it is. We can call it team tactics. I mean, it's
a little bit of teamwork going there. As here we come now.
Yeah, it is. And it comes in the checkered flags coming up right now. It should be a nice win, a very well-deserved win for Billy Frank riding the new YZ 125. Does a
Brock, but the race isn't over yet. Look behind. At the finish line, holy smoke, barely finishes in 3rd place.
Billy Frank, the AMA Rookie of the Year in the 125 class. Billy, now was that a gift or did you earn it?
Well, I thought I blew it when I broke my collarbone. I actually missed 3 races, but I didn't think I was going to get it, but it was a big surprise to me.
Okay, Rookie of the Year. Now, tonight, was that a gift there? Because we had 2 guys in front of you.
Yeah, that was pretty lucky. I was thinking they were going to do that because I knew they were going to battle pretty hard, but I'm glad they did. They crashed.
Good racing. Now, speaking of crashing, this is a tough course, but what do we got down here on your leg? I see a big hole.
Yeah, that was when that happened. I think Rodney Barr did that. I'm not sure. Oh, no, that was the first turn. I almost crashed and went down. I was like, I was ready to go, but I saved it.
You're okay, though?
Yeah, that's just a little scrape, a little patched up.
A little scrape, it just ripped through his leathers, which, have about an 80-pound test on it. Congratulations, Billy Frank. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thanks very much. Now we go to the 250 semi. Here are the guys to watch for: Jimmy Hawley, 24 on the Yamaha, and George Holland on a Suzuki. And that looks like Holland out in front.
Yeah, it looks like George Holland right now. Jimmy Hawley breaks into second place early. Good spot to be in. And look, oh, he's riding hard. I'll tell you, he's right behind George Holland there. Dives the inside, puts his Yamaha right in the lead, and between the second turn of the race, he's already leading it. Great move by Jim Hawley. And I'll tell you, that's important for him because he wants these points. He's got to get out there and ride well in the main event, and he's got to beat the Dutch rider John Vandenberg. And John Vandenberg's on a good bike. He is on my personal. Well, George has ridden the track a lot, Rod, and he probably almost has every bump memorized by now, or he sure should. I would think I would. And at this point right now, he's concentrating on what Jimmy's doing, where Jimmy's putting his bike, and he's trying to move around a little bit. Right there, he took a high line, and we see Eric Eaton, who is in third, go down in the back of the film there. And I'll tell you, here comes George Holland and pressuring Hawley right now.
Boy, he's hammering that thing into that jump, in that finish line jump too. I mean, he is bottoming that machine out.
So George right here, it's really in a good spot. His closest competitor for third place fell down. He's gave him a comfortable distance. Okay, here comes George Holland putting his bike in the inside, and he puts it in the pass. That's a classic. Oh, classic pass, right? I'll tell you, then he rode over to a Suzuki, and he's riding for the factory Suzuki ride, and his father owns a Honda Yamaha dealer, so that's quite a family organization right there. They cover 3 of the 4 major Japanese manufacturers in one family. And George looks very, very good. George is a promising rider. He's coming up, and as you can see, he's very smooth. George trains a lot. He's very much believes in training, and he uses that to his advantage. As you can see, he takes hardly any calculated risks. Very smooth, and does a little stylish there just to show the crowd that, yeah, he's in there. Got a pretty, Jimmy Hawley whips a one-hander.
Brock, let's go back and look at the exact point of the race where Hawley lost the lead. Now here you can see Hawley in the white and Holland in the yellow coming off the peristyle. Hawley here gets a little out of shape coming off this jump. His clutch hand seems to be fanning the clutch a bit. Out of the corner of the eye, he sees Holland hard charging towards the inside. George actually had a slightly straighter and smoother path through that corner, and over the double jumps right there, really fanned it out.
Ricky, there seems to be a lot of difference in the crowd, spectators watching. They go, well, that guy's not using the clutch, he's just jamming into gear. Here's your clutch. How do you use it, and do you use it in every shift?
No, you don't. Going down straight is, if the track is really tacky, you might fan it a little bit, but you don't pull it in and completely disengage the clutch, to shift. You just give it a quick fan and jam the gears. But the clutch is mostly important, like through the rockers where it's really slow and coming out of turns, you'll clutch it to get the momentum of the motor, on its way again. So that's the big purpose of the clutch.
Using the RPMs, you start off in second gear a lot. Do you use 2 or 3 fingers?
Well, I use 3 fingers on the start, but I use 2 fingers when I'm fanning it in the race.
Okay, over here now we've got a really tricky situation here that not too many people realize. This is the throttle. This is pretty quick turn, and you've got your front brake, real short little lever here. How do you work both at the same time?
Well, this has been shortened because I just use 2 fingers on my brake lever. I don't like to use my whole hand because this is a disc brake and it brakes really hard, so you don't need no more than 2 fingers to use it. And that also gives you a chance to keep 2 fingers on the throttle, so you can use them both. If you find that you braked a little bit too early, you can gas it, or if you find that you're on the throttle a little bit too late, you can hit the brakes.
So you can come into a turn at high speed, have the clutch in, have the throttle maybe a quarter turn, be using the front brake, pop that clutch, you're in the right gear?
Yeah, that's the one thing about motocross is people don't realize. They think it's just it's like riding a bicycle, but to go fast, your mind has to be going 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it has to all become natural.
Take a guess, how many shifts do you make in one moto?
At least 100.
At least 100 shifts. How many shifts is it going to take to win here at the Supercross at the Coliseum?
At least 100.
All right, best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave Stanfield and Ricky Johnson. Now let's go to the second 250cc semifinal. The 2 guys to watch for here are going to be Russ Wageman and a rider from the Netherlands, Gert Jan van Doorn, number 19 on a Honda. About 4th place off the starting line right here. Brock, you've raced against this guy, haven't you?
I'll tell you, he can be real tough, and he's beat out a few of the American riders, surprised him in a lot of the Supercross when we do compete over there. So he's going to be tough. He's riding it for what it's worth. He's a little wild right now, but he'll smooth it out, I bet. And he's dicing it with Russ Wageman right now and that other Yamaha YZ250. So,
nice jump.
Close race, and he's going for the distance, and he's got it right there. Gutsy rider, good move on his part, I'll tell you right now.
John Van Doorn moving up and does it.
Long ways to come all the way over here, Rod, from the
Yeah.
Netherlands to compete in this race. But really, to these guys have been the Supercross. They're motocross heroes over there. They have them. But the Supercross heroes basically lies right here in the United States. And I'll tell you, these guys come over here and to be able to race in front of the American crowd, probably the most famous Los Angeles Coliseum, is a great thing for these guys. They want to do it. He bobbles right there, allowing Russ Wageman to get back by. Look, they're side by side.
Back there.
Side by side on
Wageman
the
back
finish.
into that lead. Still the main event. Now Wageman put the pressure.
Oh, incredible good shot for Wageman through the whoops. He took that in about 1 or 2. He must only touch once or twice through there. That was a very, very fast effort.
Super rider from right here in Southern California, Russ Wageman with the checkered flag in the win here in the second semi. There's number 19, Gert Jan van Doorn from the Netherlands. He gets second place and also earns a berth in the main event.
We're in the pits with Ron Lachine of Team Kawasaki. Ron, there's been a lot of controversy tonight over this main event, the staggered start, the people staying back in what they would consider cherry picking and trying to get that position so they could go off in the first wave. What do you feel about it?
Well, they told us the rules before the race started about the 2-row start, and I was just playing by the rules. I don't want to be sitting on the line when the rest of the guys go in front of you, and it's almost impossible to win the race from a second row start, and I was just trying to overcome that.
Now let's go back to live action. On the starting line, this is the third and final moto for the 125 Pro-Am. This is the East versus West shootout. Now these bikes are smaller than the large 250cc machines that we've been seeing throughout the other part of the program. Here down the hole, looks like number 2, Rodney. Whoa, look at the pileup we got right at the end of the first corner. Remember, we told you that funneling down process after the wide starting line is where a great deal of accidents occur. Sure enough, we had nearly half the field go down. Now, number 20 finds himself up on top. That's Jason Upshaw, a guy we haven't heard too much from tonight. Right now in the black jersey with the lead. Rodney Barr, number 2 on the outside. Again, he's from back east. He was the guy who finished in second place during the second moto, won the first moto. So he is looking best so far tonight in the 125 East versus West shootout as far as the overall win is concerned. Now the other number 2 right next to him on the yellow Suzuki, that is Mike Healy. Now Healy has finished in second place in the first moto. He was not in the top 3 the second time around. Remember the reason that there are 2 number 2s, one of them from the East Coast, one of them from the West Coast. Coming down the peristyle, and boy, here at the bottom you can see just how tall 90 feet can be. From the floor of the Coliseum up to the top, this is the only track in the entire country, remember, that has an uphill and downhill that is actually laid and built on top of spectator seats. Back over to the west end of the Coliseum now, over the whoop-de-doos. These little 125s, a lot lighter than the 250 machines, but have almost identical power. They're only lacking a couple horsepower, and there is an example of some horsepower. Rodney Barr, number 2, was on the outside of that corner and still managed to come up with enough throttle to go all the way around number 2 Upshaw. So a brand new leader, and this will be the second time tonight that he's been on top of the whole pile. Remember, Rodney won the first heat. He finished in second place during the second one, and right now the rider from the East Coast finds himself back up on top again. Rodney Barr only managed second overall throughout the entire year from the entire eastern region as they come down the peristyle again. Uh-oh, Jason in trouble! Holy smoke, just like a Ferris wheel that went all the way around. Jason Upshaw, a classic example of what we call an endo in motocross, as he went end over end over the bars. Let's go back and see if we can get another angle of that very same fall. Jason in a little bit of pain, but paramedics right on top of the situation to look at him. Now watch him as he goes off the jump at the bottom. His back end veers away, he hits the second jump, and that's what completely shoots him off of the seat, over the handlebars, and a complete somersault landing on his bottom side. Here in slow motion, watch the back end slip away towards the left end of your screen. He hits the second jump very hard, and that's what catapults him over the bars and into the cold night air here at the Coliseum. Back to live action now. Your leader, Rodney Barr, number 2 at the tabletop finish line. A member of Kawasaki's Team Green support program, a privateer program designed by the factory to help out young up-and-coming riders with good parts and some good solid mechanical advice. Let's see if we can get another look at Jason Upshaw right now. That's the rider who had that incredible spill a few moments ago. And look at this. He's going to be getting back up on his feet. The lady you see in the red jacket there, she's a licensed paramedic. We've got complete medical facilities and help here at the Coliseum, but it sure is nice to see Jason to be able to get up and walk away from an accident like that. White flag is out right now. We got 1 lap left to go. This is the 3rd and final moto of the Nippendenso East versus West shootout. Look at that. He's back up on his feet. Jason Upshaw walking back to his bike as if he wants to finish. Less than half a lap left to go right now. And again, number 2, Rodney Barr. Looks like Tyson Boland is the rider back behind him in 2nd place. Another Kawasaki rider. Tyson, number 12, closing up a little bit here with just the last half a lap to go. Rodney very firmly has the overall win in his hand. But what more people are interested in are the team tactics that we were talking about earlier. Even though Rodney is from the East Coast and he's got the red jersey, there are plenty of West Coast blue jersey riders right behind him. And it looks like that the bulk of those guys in the blue jerseys are going to be taking home the points. So even though the individual title may go to Rodney Barr, the West Coast is going to take the overall title here in the shootout. Checkered flag is out. Rodney Barr with a one-hander, as does Tyson Boland. And it looks like 3rd place is going to be Mike Healy on a Suzuki, number 2.
Here is your champion, 125cc. On the back of his leathers, it says Mr. Good.
Yeah, it's something me and the guy, Greg Fox, came up with.
Mr. Goodbar, this is Rodney Barr. Congratulations, great racing.
Thanks.
Okay, what was the turning point in this last race?
Well, the 2nd moto had some problems with my suspension, so I just laid back, and everything went well for me. I had a lot of people had some bad luck. Eddie had a crash and Bader crashed, so I came out all right.
Did you feel the squeeze at the start? A couple riders went down, at least 6.
Oh, yeah. 2, Eddie and Billy Franks came over and hit me on the line. We had a pretty good bobble going on to the 1st corner. Luckily, I came out.
Hey, you like LA, don't you?
Love it.
All right. He loves LA. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Dave Stanfield. Now it's back for the last chance qualifier. Historically, the most exciting race of the entire night. Next, of course, to the main event. And look at this, a youngster from right here in Southern California, Mouse McCoy. You'll probably see him referred to as Michael. That's the way the program works out. But for everybody who races in Southern California, they know him as Mouse. He's been on motorcycles ever since he was about 3 feet tall on little Indians. And right now, he's running real lightweight on the inside. Whoa, on the outside, he's about ready to get past a bobble over there in the bales, as we've got about 4 guys going down. That did not affect the leaders, however. Our leader's getting ready to finish up lap number 1 as the rest of the guys towards the back are hating life right now, trying to get back into action. There you've got Mouse McCoy up in the top slot right now, and it looks like Gordon Ward right behind him in 2nd place. Gordon Ward, that's a rider who last year was running in the 125 Pro-Am class. Exactly the same situation that you saw with the 3 moto race tonight. Whoa, and down! That's Gordon Ward going down right there. That'll give McCoy more breathing room up on top and give a chance for Terry Fowler from El Cajon. You heard us talking about him earlier. Now he on the Kawasaki in 2nd place on the outside. He's going to try and pass Mouse. He does. Mouse gets him back on the inside. Holy smoke, this is the closest racing we've seen tonight. Fowler on the outside line trying to pull around. That is not easy to do. When you're trying to pass, by and large, you try for the inside line, the shortest line between 2 points. But you've seen Fowler pull it off twice. Let's return to action over at the Peristyle end now. 2-time World 125 champ Davey Strebos making a hard charge. That's him on the Honda number 15, creeping up right behind Mouse McCoy over on the north end of the Coliseum. Now look at that pass! Holy Toledo, in mid-air he goes blowing right by Mouse McCoy as if he's standing still. Now McCoy does not have much world-class experience. Nonetheless, you got to be proud of him to stay up as long as he did. Now you got the 125 world champ and he goes down. He's on a 250, which he is not entirely comfortable with. He's used to running 125s, a small guy and a little on the lightweight side as far as his weight goes. However, he knows how to run a bike, except for that one corner right there. His momentum got off balance and he went right over the bars. Now you see number 646, Gordon Ward, just in front of him. That's the current leader. Strebos was able to get his bike back up in time to hold on to 2nd place. But another privateer effort, a guy who comes out and provides all of his own money for racing, has got the lead. The white flag is out. That means that there's only 1 lap left to go. and only the winner of this race will transfer for the final slot in the main event. So a lot of pressure on these two riders as they go through the last couple of turns here at the Coliseum. It's the 1985 Nippondenso World Supercross Finals that you're watching. The last chance qualifier, one of these two men will make it to the finals, and we got half a lap left to determine it. Back over on the north side, watching him fly through the air, number 646, Gordon Ward from California, and number 15, Davy Strebos, again a 125 world champion that we have out here from the Netherlands. Looking back over his shoulder, you can't be surprised at all that Ward is a little bit on the nervous side. This guy's so young, he's still got braces on his teeth. If he wins the race, you'll see him bright as anything. Strebos, he's got this little kid he's racing against. You can bet the factory men are watching him. And again, in almost the same place where Strebos bailed 2 laps ago, he falls. So the checkered flag and a big upset win goes to the youngster from California, Gordon Ward. A very disappointed Davy Strebos, number 15, will not transfer to the main.
Gordon Ward, they call him Flash, Gordon Flash. An incredible finish, congratulations. In the Constellation event, only one guy goes, you go.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm glad I made it to this one because of all the people that are here tonight. And I'm just glad I made it.
Was that the biggest race of your life?
Yeah, it probably was. That was the closest ever.
Do you know who you were racing and his titles in Europe?
No, I don't.
Strebos, number 2 in the world, 125s?
No, I do. I'm really happy that I beat him.
Okay, quickly reenact what happened over there. Did you see in the whoops?
Yeah, in the whoops that last lap?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the last lap, I was just trying to hold him off because he kept trying to ram me, but, you know, I knew that's really all I could do, but I just kept trying.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Flash Gordon on his way to the main event. Back to you guys.
Thanks very much, Dave Stanfield. Greg Barbacovi up here in the booth, along with Rod Eschenberg. Brock Glover is down on the field getting ready to do an interview as we prepare for the beginning of the 20-lap main.
Eric Gabors of Belgium on the starting line of the main event. You're going to be in the second wave tonight, Eric. How do you feel out there making it to the main of the Supercross tonight?
Well, I'm very happy. It's the first time that I'm here, and I'm very pleased that I made the main event. It's very hard to stop racing, so that's why I'm quite happy for it.
Well, good luck out there tonight, Eric. Best of luck to you. We're here with George Jobé of Belgium, 2-time world champion. Now has made it into the main event. We'll be starting in the second wave. George, how do you feel about starting the second wave? Would you prefer to have a single row start?
Yeah, it's funny because I come here, you know, there is a match between the European and Americans. And first when I talked to the promoter, he said, okay, all the best American will start in the second row and all the European will start in the first row. And I'm here in the main and I'm starting in the second row. So it's funny.
Nothing funny at all down in the starting line as we prepare for the start of the World Supercross Finals at the LA Coliseum. The gates down, the first wave you can see on the right hand, the second wave on the left, and Jeff Ward streaks to the start. He's got the whole shot right off the bat. Uh-oh, a little contact up on top. That looks like Ron Lachine, who went off the track and is in the infield right now. Talk about a serious blow. You end up at the back of the pack at the very beginning of the race. It's awful tough to get around 19 other riders to regain the lead, and that's exactly what Lachine will have to do. Now, focus your attention on the leader, Jeff Ward, number 2. This year, he was crowned not only the champion of the 250cc outdoor circuit, but he was also the champ of the year-long Supercross circuit here in Motocross. And at the end of the first full lap, the green flag is out. Jeff has got himself a comfortable full 1 second lead. Back behind him, the very first guy who was caught sandbagging, that's Johnny O'Mara on Team Honda. Back down the peristyle, 90 feet from top to bottom, the only place in the entire country where we have an uphill and downhill. And there you can see our 2 front runners as they're working on lap number 2 of a 20-lap main event. It's this race here upon which all of the marbles are thrown out. The points, the money, and of course all of the prestige, not to mention the first ever Rodil Cup. Kawasaki with the lead, Honda in second place. It looks like a Yamaha back in third. I believe that's Scott Burnworth. We saw Scott streak out to a great start earlier on this evening. He qualified for the main and hasn't had to run since then. Scott, the latest addition to Team Yamaha. Those top 3 riders really beginning to widen out now. We're seeing the top 3 really run away, and this is what the promoter was trying to avoid in that double wave start. Hopefully, or what the promoter was hoping to have, was by having all of the top finishers in the qualifiers start in the second wave. Whoa! Down on the track, that's Ricky Johnson. Ricky is not the rider crumpled up in the middle of the track. He's over on the side trying to get his Yamaha going again. The downed riders, you can see, receiving immediate medical attention, but Ricky is now at a severe disadvantage in the race. Back to your leader, Jeff Ward and Johnny O'Mara. As we started to say a few moments ago, the winners of the earlier races were supposed to start in the second wave. They figured that would be the fastest group of riders. But you saw, though, with the sandbagging that went on, the riders plain old outfoxed the promoters and turned it around on him. So Ward, who was able to start in the first wave, remember he pulled that little hat trick out of view of everybody in the spectating stands, back behind the peristyle area. Finds himself up on top. O'Mara in the blue jersey in second, Scott Burnworth in third. Jeff, one hand up in the air. I'm not sure if he was stretching his tendons there or what. I can't believe that at this point of the race he'd be waving to his girlfriend off the side of the track. See the rider with the yellow flag, or the spectator with the yellow flag, that's a caution flag, standing out in front to give just an added warning to the rest of the riders who continue by at breakneck speed. Do not stop the races unless, of course, it is impossible to continue a race on. Let's go back to Jeff Ward up on top, number 2. The gap between himself and Johnny O'Mara seems to be getting wider. Johnny had a somewhat off year here in 1985. He competed in the 250 National Series along with Jeff Ward and finished in second place behind him, about 18 points down. As far as the Supercross season went, Johnny started off the season well, but just never really seemed to be able to keep the consistency up that he did in 1984 when he won the title. Now there's a good look at the newest addition to Team Yamaha, Jimmy Hawley, number 24. Now keep in mind that Jimmy was the runner-up in the first round of the World Supercross Finals in Sweden, and he was the winner of the second round held in Spain a few weeks ago. This is the third and final deciding round. Brock had a few words with him before the race.
Jimmy, we see your feet are taped up, your ankles are taped up. Are you having problems with them, or is this a precautionary measure?
Well, I had a little problem with them last week in Holland. The track was real ruddy, and I caught both of them and kind of twisted them. They've been irritating me all year long, so tonight I just want to tape them up and make sure my boot's really tight, and hopefully I won't catch them in no holes.
Do you think that's going to slow you down at all tonight racing, or is it you think you'll be fine?
Definitely slow me down if I catch in the hole and it starts hurting really bad, yeah. That's why I want to tape them up, and you know, I kind of feel like a football player here, you know, taping up my ankles, but it's for safety reasons.
Well, good luck out there tonight, Jimmy, and best of luck for winning the championship.
Jimmy has a history of weak ankles, so just an added precaution right there to try and keep himself healthy. Here we go, back to our leader, number 2, Jeff Ward. Now, Jeff Ward on top of this race right here, but remember, the other thing to keep in mind is the overall Rodil Cup Award, which is the basis for this 3-race Supercross series. Jim Hawley, who we talked about a few moments ago, with 47 points, is sitting in first place in the series. From the Netherlands, John Vandenberg with 42 points behind him. Whoever comes out on top between those two riders in tonight's main event will take home the prestigious Rodil Cup. Completely separate, though, tonight's main event right here, the way it's looking, number 2, Jeff Ward is not going to have to look too hard for a first-place trophy here. Jeff did not compete in one of the 2 events over in Europe, and so that's the reason why he isn't doing better as far as the overall Rodil Cup standings go. Now you're getting a look at the gap between first and second place as we enter one of the most difficult portions of the race for a leader. That's when you're going so fast that you begin to catch up with some of the stragglers. At this point of the race, Jeff Ward not only has to go faster than anybody else, he has got to get around these riders that he is about to lap safely, cleanly, and efficiently. There you can see number 27, George Holland, looking over his shoulder a couple times. George would not want to get in the way of the front runner. You can be sure there'd be a score to settle later on in the pits. Coming back down the peristyle. Ward on top, seemed to get through the pack pretty quickly. We'll catch a long view in just a second and see whether or not Johnny O'Mara had the same fate. There you can see one lap rider on the Kawasaki between the two. You got to go back quite a ways to catch the runner-up. Remember, that's Johnny O'Mara in the blue jersey. Those are the guys in first and second place on the same lap. Everybody else is at least 1 lap down. There's a good example. Russ Wageman, 54, pointing the way for Jeff Ward to safely get around him. And look who's in front of Wardy right now. Number 5, Ricky Johnson. Now, Ricky, remember, went down earlier. We saw that on camera. Now finds himself in a position where he's about to be lapped. Complete surprise. Ricky went down because he had simply no place else to go on the track. He had got a fair start and was moving his way up through the pack pretty nicely, but when somebody falls down right in front of you, well, very frequently you don't have much choice in the matter as to where you're going to land. So there's RJ, number 5 on the Yamaha. Again, he's a lap down. He's not in the lead. Number 2, Jeff Ward, now has got to put all of his concentration towards figuring out a safe way behind Ricky. It's going to be interesting to see here whether or not RJ is going to carry any kind of grudge against Jeff Ward. Here they are going into a corner, and even though Ricky is a lap down, it doesn't look like he's giving Jeff any slack in that corner at all. Now finally he moves towards the outside, and I think Ricky decided, yes, I really don't want to make a big issue of this. Let's not get in any kind of trouble and just keep everybody safe. Good, solid professional move on his part as he did let Jeff Ward go by. And I'd be very surprised if he didn't let the same thing happen when that blue jersey Johnny O'Mara comes by to do the same thing. They're over by the finish line. Wardy adjusting his goggles just a bit before he goes over those quad jumps. Remember, those are 4 peaks of dirt in a row that these riders are launching themselves off of. They jump off the first, clear the second and the third, and land on the back side of the fourth. It's an incredible horsepower that you look at on these 250cc machines here on the floor of the Coliseum tonight. Ward, a rider that has probably the best reputation of maintaining his physical conditioning. All this year, he and his personal trainer, Jeff Spencer, designed a program particular to his needs. Jeff's a little on the short side. He's only about 5'4", 5'5". A little stocky, but I tell you, there is probably all of 3 ounces of fat on his entire body. This guy could go out and play 2 or 3 soccer games back to back. Again, a lapped rider as Johnny O'Mara getting a little bit close to Jeff Ward again. And the white flag is out. We're on the last lap of the race, and now this is going to be the final opportunity that Johnny's going to have to take this away. Wouldn't it be something if Jeff Ward were to lead every single lap of this race except for the last one? Well, that's the idea that Johnny O'Mara has in the back of his mind right now. As you can see, the Coliseum scoreboard reminding the 50,000 fans here that there's just 1 lap left. Team Kawasaki, they've stuck with Jeff Ward through thick and thin, and this year, of course, winning the 250 National Championship and the Supercross Champion. And now, Johnny O'Mara, number 3, really putting the gas on like he has not all race long. O'Mara is closing to within a bike length and a half, drops down to 2 bike lengths over the whoop-de-doos. Here in the rocker section will probably be O'Mara's best chance as riders have the opportunity for 2 different lines here. No, instead, O'Mara plays it safe and follows the same line. That means it's going to be the last corner. That'll be his last chance. Johnny O, he's a little too far outside to have a good shot at it, and sure enough, it's not going to happen. Jeff Ward takes the checkered flag and the win. However, the series win for the Rodil Cup will go to number 24, Jimmy Hawley. Jeff Ward, the winner of the main event here tonight at the Los Angeles Coliseum, but all the marbles in the Rodil Cup will go to this man right here. He was the runner-up in Sweden, the winner in Spain, 5th overall tonight. However, he beat John Vandenberg, shaking his hand right there, and he will win the prestigious Rodil Cup. Jimmy Hawley.
This is it, Jeff Ward, the World Finals of Supercross winner. Jeff, how was it?
That was all right. There's a little problem, with the starting gate, and the crowd doesn't seem too pleased that I won, but, I got forced on the first gate, but it was all right. I went and won, so I'm glad to be here anyway.
Okay, let's forget about that starting problem. There was a race out front, and it was with you and O'Mara. Did you feel the heat?
Yeah, Johnny rode really strong. He was there the whole way, and I was a little tense at first. I was a little tight, and I started loosening up towards the end. I opened up a little bit. A few lappers got in the way at the end there and closed Johnny right on the back of me, but I held on. And it's just a good race for me right now to get ready for next year because I know what I can take from him.
Okay, everything's over and done. Would you do the same thing? Would you start on the same position? Would you do the same kind of race?
Yeah, I definitely would. I wouldn't be up here if I wasn't, so I have to be happy with that choice. And I got kind of made for me, but it's all right.
Congratulations, Jeff.
Thank you.
Great year.
Yeah, very good.
All right.
Jeff Ward, the winner of the series, but this man right here, Gentleman Jim Hawley, enjoying the spoils of a very sweet overall series win. The Rodil Cup, the first ever World Supercross Finals. Along with Brock Glover, this has been Greg Barbacote, thanking you all for joining us here tonight at the Los Angeles Coliseum for the 1985 World Supercross Finals.